Good morning, students. Saira. Welcome back once again. How are you all? I hope you all are well and safe at your places. Children, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 10, Soils of India. Yes, Soils of India. Children, in the last chapter, that is chapter number 9, you have learned about the natural resources. Can you tell me what is natural resources? The natural resources are the valuable things that we get from the nature. It is not made by the mans. It is not made by the man, and it is very necessary for us to live on this earth. So this type of resources are known as natural resources. The things which we get from the nature. So in that we have learned about the two types of natural resources. One is renewable and another one is non-renewable natural resources. So children, can you give me the example of renewable natural resources? Very good. Air, water, soil are the example of renewable natural resources. So children, in this video we are going to learn about the soils of India. You know that India is covered by the different landform. The surface of India is covered by the different landforms. So different landforms, different areas contain different types of soil. So in this chapter we will learn about the soil in detail. Yes, in this chapter we will learn about the soil in the detail. So children, so our content is, in this chapter you will learn about the importance of soil as natural resources. You know that soil is a natural resources. So in this chapter you will learn about the importance of soil as a natural resources. Then the formation of soil, how soil form, and the types of soil found in India. The types of soil found in India. So first of all, children, what is soil? What is soil? Children, soil is essentially is loose material which is forms the thinner surface layer of earth. Means the soil is thinner surface, the surface layer of earth. So the soil is essentially is the loose material which is forms the thinner surface layer of earth. Children, it is complex mixture of minerals, water, air, organic matter and countless organisms that are the decaying remains of one living thing. Children, it is complex mixture of mineral, means it contain different minerals, water, air, organic matter. You know that plants get minerals, water from the soil. So soil contain minerals, water, air, organic matter and countless organisms that are the decaying remains of once living things. You know, when the living thing get dead, its body is decomposed by the decomposers, means its body is broken down into a simple components by the decomposers, and that components get mixed with the soil. You know that the body contain different minerals, different components, so that components get mixed with the soil, so the soil is it's a mixture of countless organisms that are the decaying remains of once living thing. Children, It is the skin of the earth. Soil is the skin of the earth. Skin of the earth. Now you have read this line that soil is thin surface layer of the earth. Means so the soil soil is the skin of earth. So soil is the skin of the earth. Children, soil is capable of supporting plants life. Means soil is capable of supporting plants life because plants get water and minerals from the soil. So soil is capable of supporting plants life and is vital to life on earth. And you know all the living things depend on directly and indirectly on the plants for food, for the oxygen. So it is vital to life on the earth. Soil is capable of supporting plants life and is vital to life on earth. Children, our next topic is the importance of soil. The importance of soil. Children, soil is important for plant. Soil is important for plants because plants grow in soil. Because plants grow in soil. You know that when you grow a seed in soil, then a seed is converted into a plant. From seeds plants grow. So the seed need soil to grow. So the base is soil in which a seed grow into a plants. So all the plants grow in soil. So soil is important for the growth of plants. Children, animals depend on plants. You know which type of animals depend on plants? Very good. Herbivorous animals depend upon plants because they eat plants. The food which is prepared by the plants, they eat, and that type of animals are known as herbivorous animals. Children, thus all the living things on the earth depends on the soil for their food. Means not only herbivorous animals but all the living things which are on the earth depend on the soil for their food. You will thinking that how a carnivorous animals depend on plants because they do not depend on plants for their food because they eat other animals. So how they depend on plants for their food? So let's see a picture of food chain. It will make you more clear how all the living things, all the animals depend on plants. So they are depend directly and indirectly depend on plants for their food. Children, this is a picture of food chain. You know that always food chain start from the producer, plants. So here is the producer example is grass. You know that the producer is able to synthesize their own food. Who makes their own food, own things are known as producer. So here is the producer is grass. So you know that the plants or the grass synthesize their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Children, then this grass is eaten by the primary consumer. So primary means the first consumer. Consumer means who eat here. So here the grass is eaten by the primary consumer. So here is the example of first Primary consumer is grasshopper. Grasshopper. Then this primary consumer is eaten by the another animals, who is known as secondary consumer. And here is the example of secondary consumer is mice. So the mice eat primary consumer, that is grasshopper. Then this secondary consumer, who is already eaten one consumer, primary consumer, is eaten by the another animal. So another animal, the third animal is here known as tertiary consumer. So the example of tertiary consumer is here snake. So mice is eaten by the snake. Mice is eaten by the third animal. Another animal is known as the tertiary consumer. The example is here snake. Then this snake is eaten by the other animal. Here you can see the example of final consumers is known as, you can take the example of eagle. So this snake is eaten by the eagle. So eagle when dead, then finally the dead body of eagle is eaten by the decomposers. So finally the dead body is decomposed by the decomposers. So the food chain you can see here is flow from producer to primary consumer, from primary consumer to secondary consumer, from secondary consumer to tertiary consumer, from tertiary consumer to the final consumer. Then when final consumer get dead, then the dead body of final consumer is decomposed by the decomposers. So this is the food chain, means all the animals depend on one by one on each other. The food is passes by one by one. Here you can see the chain. So children, if you see here, the first producer is here is grass. Suppose if there is no soil, then how the grass will grow? If soil is not there, if soil is absent, so how this grass will grow? So then the grass will not grow in the absence of soil. Then the producer will not there in a food chain. Then what will happen? If producer is not there in the food chain, then what will happen? Then this primary consumer who depend on plants for their food will not get it food. Then it will die. In the absence of food. So grass is not there, means producer is not there. Who is producing food? Who is able to synthesize is its own food? So grass is absence. Grass is not there. Then this primary consumer will not get it food. It will also die because of absence of food. If this primary consumer die, then the secondary consumer, which is depend on the primary consumer for its food, it will also not get it food. If the secondary consumer will not get it food, it will also die. So then the tertiary consumer will also not get it food. Then the secondary consumer will die. If the secondary consumer will die, then the tertiary consumer, which is here snake, will also not get it food. Then you can see here then the food chain will not flow. So here you can see that all the animals, then they will also not get food. They also die. Then the finally consumer also, they will also not get their food. They may also die. So same here, decomposers. So here you can see the food chain will not flow. So here who is producer? Plants. So plants, you know that always grow in a soil. So soil is very important for all the living things on the earth. So this point is very clear, that the things on the earth depend on the soil for their food. Animals depends on plant for their food. Thus all the living things on the earth depend on the soil for their food, because they are linked in a chain. They all are depend on each other for the food. So if one will absence there, then other will not get their food. Same as the soil is most important, because plants who is producer is grow in soil. So soil is important for all the living things, because they depend on the soil for their food. Then children, next importance of soil is, you have seen in villages many houses are made up of mud. So this type of house is known as kacha house. So children, people use muds to make the wall of their houses. So in villages people use muds to make the walls of their houses. Children, next importance of soil is, we make clothes from plants like cotton and jute. The next importance of soil is, most in people in India depend on agriculture for their livelihood. So most people in India depend on agriculture for their livelihood. So by the agriculture, different types of crops were grown in a soil. So farmer, that farmer do the agriculture, they grow different types of crop in a soil. So the most people in India depend on agriculture for their livelihood. So livelihood means the necessary things for their life. So they depend on agriculture for the necessary things which is important for their life. So children, today you have learned about the soil, what is soil and its important. So for today your homework is, you have to learn about the importance of soil.